Can you guys get me that video, please? Because it's an interesting thing. Someone who cannot control themselves. Ken Dorsey was viewed as a player as a stoic, and then all of a sudden he's your offensive coordinator and he's in charge of Josh Allen, and it's too much?
Yeah, that's what I think. The pressure of the moment. I really, and this gets me in trouble with a lot of, hell, the last time I came on here, the Lamar conversation, and all of a sudden I've got folks like PFF Moo in my mentions being like, actually, here's how football works, buddy. And I'm like, okay, thanks. I'm a big believer in pressure revealing, a lot about high achievers or athletes or people in big time jobs. And I think that there are certain people that are great in the interview, great on the whiteboard, great in all these circumstances. And then as the pressure ratchets up, they can't keep their cool. Like, again, this is going to be corny and Mike will probably make fun of me, but because it's a fictional movie, but the DiCaprio line in The Departed, where he's like, my hand doesn't shake. Like, I believe that. I believe in that. That there are certain people who, I knew Mike was going to make fun of me.
No, I'm not making fun of you. That is a life motto.
My hand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I quote that all the time.
Does not shake.
Yeah, like I'm a big believer in that. So to me, for Gannon, that's the bigger thing. Is because here's the other piece of it. He did not know when the kid fumbled the ball that they were going to then have a cartoonish collapse. He knew that the game could have been over and now they have to keep fighting, but it was not as if they were down 4 as the clock is ticking to 0 and the kid fumbles and now we were going to win, we lose. There was a lot of fighting left to do, and that to me precipitated the full-on collapse.
I want to ask you before we go about Kansas City and Jacksonville,
Yeah.
But one last note, just to be clear. Ken Dorsey was strong enough to be the guy whose hand doesn't shake. I got the game wrong just yesterday. I said his first game was at Washington, and he wet himself, and he said he was wetting himself running on the field. It wasn't Washington. It was Virginia Tech. But he was playing high-stakes football, and Ken Dorsey is at the center of Miami taking college football back from FSU because his hand didn't shake. Because late in that game, he could throw the ball to Jeremy Shockey, and they could overtake FSU. Where do the levels of pressure this rise that Ken Dorsey's hand doesn't shake enough to win a national championship when he's got Willis McGahee and Clinton Portis and those people behind him and Frank Gore?
Oh, it's that the job changed. I think normally it's whether, I think he maybe was a full-on confident, guy in the role he had there, quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes football team, and then not as confident in the role of offensive coordinator for NFL team with championship aspirations. I think there are plenty of people who, I'm going to mix metaphors here a bit, but can do billion-dollar business negotiations and never blink and feel totally confident. But if they sat down in a poker game for $5,000, would be a nervous wreck, because in one setting they feel in their element, comfortable. It's what they've trained their whole life for, and in another setting they feel over their skis a bit. Now some guys, I assume, are just nervous Nellies. I don't know why I said that. Under all circumstances,
I just thought that video was that game where Josh Allen threw his arm out on 4th and short. He had one more pass to his running back in the flat, and they ran out of gas, and the heat in Miami because Josh Allen just threw his arm out 6 yards at a time.
I think the point that Nick is trying to make is there are plenty of great coordinators that make for bad head coaches. Nick's a fan of a team that has one of those examples on the defensive side of the ball. Yep. Every offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator at one time was considered a great position coach. The way that Ken Dorsey was, he was behind getting Cam Newton to MVP levels and helping get Josh Allen to that next tier. But the job was too big for him when he got to OC.
We said this of Belichick once upon a time, that he was only a coordinator. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I understand how we can do the revisionist history on Ken Dorsey now because he flipped out out in a moment and didn't improve Josh Allen.
There are guys that are good at their jobs that are bad leaders. This happens in every possible workplace in America. There are guys that are great workers that maybe shouldn't be, that aren't necessarily management material.
Yeah, I mean, when Ken Dorsey's at the University of Miami, his hand doesn't shake partly because he has a couple of future NFL running backs behind him. That was a loaded team, including on defense.
It also, that to me, I don't mean to interrupt you, Greg. Yeah. I apologize. It might be that, but it also might be that he felt that, no, I'm that dude. I'm a great quarterback. And maybe some people, maybe you feel more comfortable when it's I'm the one in charge of all the decisions. And you feel a little helpless when it's all I can do is call the play, you have to execute it. I don't know the man, and I don't know, the full story of his evolution as a player and a coach. What I know is, like, my snap judgment of that scene you guys showed was, this job's too big for him right now. Maybe it won't be down the road, but in this moment, the inability to keep your cool, to me, is very instructive. Like, I value that. I really value folks who in crisis can be the steady hand. And I think in sports, that is super, super important. And that's the Gannon thing that would, if I were a Cardinal fan, bother me almost as much, if not more, long term than the fact that he hit the player.
He's got two great shows he's doing. The podcast, What's Right with Nick Wright, is not daily, but it is, 3-4 times a week with some emergencies based on the news?
At least 3, and then sometimes we add another one, yeah.
And you should support it because it's fun, and he does it with his son. And a lot of people know that First Things First is hugely popular now and one of the great things in sports television because he's at the center of it. Can you, before you get out of here, give me as many thoughts as you can on just Jacksonville and Kansas City?
Yeah.
Because I think Trevor Lawrence will absolutely blow that game in the playoffs with 4 turnovers, and Jacksonville can't actually turn the ball over at the rate that they're doing. But you got the offense that you think is back, correct?
Okay, so a number of things. Yes, of course, Trevor Lawrence, my guy who I love, and it was kind of sad for me that this moment I couldn't really enjoy, even though I've supported him for 5 years because it came to the expense of my team. And I understand the healthy skepticism of Trevor Lawrence, particularly come postseason. He has not at all earned the benefit of the doubt like the great Justin Herbert, who once upon a time played Trevor Lawrence in a playoff game and blew a 27-point lead. Like, we get it. We understand. Certain guys have earned the benefit of the doubt. Trevor Lawrence isn't one of them. The guy who he beat in a playoff game, of course, is one of them for reasons. I don't know. Going to be hard to blame the coach this year in Los Angeles, but I'm sure we'll find a way. Now, to the Chiefs. This is where I'm fair. Sometimes, this is so weird because I now find myself a little bit on the other side because a lot of these numbers that I railed against last year when people were like, the Chiefs are the worst 5-0 team ever, and they made me mad. Those now same numbers are like, the Chiefs, one of the best 2-3 teams ever. I still don't like them. Winning football games is a skill, and the Chiefs, while yes, the offense looks awesome again and will only look better with Rice, that didn't really make me feel better because I knew the offense would look awesome because Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback and he has a competent offensive line this year and the receiving core is getting better. Losing that game the way they did is so un-Chiefs-like. It's the first time in 5 years they've lost a game they won the turnover battle. They had a 14-point lead and they blew it. They never do that. The penalties and the special teams errors cost them the game. I hated that loss. That was the most frustrating regular season loss this team has had in, honestly, for me, in at least 3 years. And so, yes, I feel good about the fact that the offense is going to be great. But I always believed the offense could be great. They need to trade for a running back. Again, I mentioned Achane to you guys before. Maybe Breece Hall, maybe Kamara. I don't know if they will. And they have to figure out a way to get pressure without having to send these huge blitzes. With all that said, it is a very unique situation when for years it has been the AFC is the varsity and the NFC is the junior varsity when it comes to quarterbacks you got to go through. This postseason is going to come around, Dan, and Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen are going to look around the AFC playoff field and see Bo Nix and 42-year-old Aaron Rodgers and Drake May and Daniel Jones. And in the NFC, it's going to be playoff stud Baker Mayfield, champion Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl MVP Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl starter Jared Goff, conference championship starter Jaden Daniels, whomever else I'm forgetting or leaving out. And so the Chiefs need to win football games. But the offense is going to be good. I think they're going to beat Detroit. They can't shoot themselves in the foot. But that's a bad loss. And I'm not going to make excuses and act like it wasn't. That's a bad loss that they shouldn't have had.
Think I'm going to beat Detroit. Got to go on that note. You think a lot of people think that right now? You think that
They're 2.5-point favorites, Dan. They're at home. They have the best player in the league. Right now, Dano. How about this? Just Chiefs-Lions, straight up. Set the amount. I can do it in a little arbitrage with your friends at DraftKings. I'll bet it on the other side plus the 2.5. Look for a little juicy middle.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it right now. Tell me what the stakes are on this. Make the bet right now. Let's do it. Let's team up right here. We're going to tell me how I have to do that so that I can make the stakes something that's worth it to you. I believe that Detroit is going to beat Kansas City.
I have an idea. Host swap.
Yeah. Huh?
That's right. If Dan loses, he's got to join your show for a full recording if you want that.
From your house.
Yeah. Well, maybe from your house. Either one of your two shows. What's right or what you got going on? Speak for yourself. I literally mean speak for yourself because I don't know the name.
First things first. It's called, yeah.
What you got going on? Speak for yourself.
No, I told
is
him
what you just called Nick
Speak
Wright
for Yourself was literally a different show on the network.
No,
Then it became Speak.
No, I told you to speak for yourself because I forgot the name of the show.
I thought we were just doing Cash Money.
I say
But
5K.
we're doing like
Tell me what it should be.
Or you fly down here and you host one of the Dan Le Batard shows with Stu.
They're all putting up 5, so 5 grand.
5K.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Really?
Yes.
$5,000.
I get the Chiefs even. It just went straight winner.
Yes.
Chiefs Lions.
Yes. I'll give you the points.
No,
Dan, you're terrible at this.
You're such a bad negotiator.
All right. What's going on?
I don't get points. They're the favorites. We're just doing straight winners.
Straight winners, 5K.
Yes.
All right. It's done.
You want to throw in a white Corvette?
Good luck on cold pizza.